Alright, we have the last video analysis of the day. Again, guys, this is a very basic video analysis that I just do for free for people on YouTube to kind of promote what we do. But make sure you guys, in a few weeks, we're going to be going live with our gold medal service that we're going to offer. This is a 100% personalized custom training, all out. I mean, pretty much you're going to have me in your back pocket. It's going to be a service that we're going to offer as a 3-month payment. Literally, unless I was standing next to you, you are not going to get any more in depth and in touch with what I do for coaching than what we're offering. So make sure, guys, check out EliteThrowsCoaching.com. It's going to be live on the website. We're going to start doing it in September, but we're going to start signing people up now because I know there has been a ton of emails and demand for something a little bit higher quality than these free ones. It's something I used to do many years ago, and we're going to be starting it back up again. All right, so here we have Marco. Marco is a discus thrower, as you can tell. We're going to take a look at the throw a couple of times just in kind of real time and see what we can see in full speed. So let's see it again here. Okay, so a couple of things I'm noticing right off the bat is that with Marco, it looks like he is stepping to the front of the circle. We want to see more of a drive. I really hesitate using the term hop or jump, but it's like you're trying to kind of do a little skip or a little jump over a puddle. Here it looks like he's trying to step over the puddle. The other thing is it looks like he loses separation in the middle. He's got great separation here, but it looks like he loses it in the middle of the throw. It also looks like he's throwing out instead of up. So let's take a look in kind of frame by frame here and see what's going on. So we've got, does a pretty good job here of pulling the discus back. I really like how he rotates the knee in and the toe in. That's the way I teach. And then at this point here, we want to see him start to push, actively push off the ground, push that right hip around his left side. So let's see. So we're going through. Okay, starts to move a little bit. He's kind of sitting his butt back. He's got that lightning bolt shape. And you can see right here, he loses a lot of the separation that he created when he pulled that discus back. So we always talk about the upper body and the lower body being in a race. And you never want the upper body to beat the lower body. You never want the right hand to go in front of the right hip. So you can see his right hip at this angle is pointing kind of over here toward the side of these football tackling sled dummy, whatever the heck you call them things. I didn't play football. I don't know what they're called. So you can see discus is still back behind him a little bit. The right foot, I think, can come off the ground a little bit earlier. I think that's going to happen if he just starts to push that right hip around. Does a pretty good job of getting around his left. But you can see here what starts to happen. Because he lost separation in the back and has an understanding that the hip needs to go in front of the discus through the middle or through the entire throw, what does he do? It looks like he stops the right arm, drops the discus. Obviously there's no more force on the discus. He drops the discus, gravity pulls it down, and he kind of bends the right elbow and cradles it a little bit. So see that, how gravity pulls it down? Now it's almost in front of or even with that right hip. And then right here you can see he starts to, right there it's probably even with the hip, and then he starts to drive through and gets extension on the arm again. Now the hip is pointing at you watching the video, and the arm is kind of pointing at your left shoulder watching the video. So if we can get the right foot off the ground earlier, if we can keep that separation in the back of the circle a little bit better, This is also the reason why I like to see people keep this left arm inside of the left knee, You can see how the left arm is pointing over here, the left knee is pointing at the camera. Keep that left arm even or just inside of that left knee. That's going to help to keep you wound back a little bit more. So that's where I think the problems start right here in the throw, is that you lose separation in the back. So two things we can do. Again, we can get the hip moving ahead of the discus a little bit earlier. So don't let that upper body unwind. And we can keep this left arm inside of that left knee, just inside of it. Don't let it swing outside of the left knee. Keep it just that left armpit closed a little bit more. Maybe if your left knee is pointing at the camera, your left arm should be pointing like over here somewhere, kind of down in this position. Instead of pointing over there, point over here. Alright, we drive through, we talked about this. Discus catches up to the hip, and then the hip goes back in front. But you can see how late your left foot comes out of the back. So 1, 2. That's not bad, but I'd really love to see a few things here. I'd like to see the left foot come off the ground right about there. And it doesn't come off the ground till there. So get your left foot off the ground a little bit earlier. The other thing I'd love to see is now take a look at how wide open your left arm is compared to that left leg. So I'd love to see the left arm closed a little bit more. You're wide open. You're in that scarecrow position where you've got that those long arms, and they're both wide open like a scarecrow hanging in a field. I want that left arm closed a little bit. I want your left armpit closed a little bit. So at this point, I should see your left arm. Your left hand is kind of pointing over here at this little kind of opening. Your left hand should probably be pointing like off camera. You guys can't see it, but off camera there's some bleachers and a little storage garage. Should probably be pointing over that way instead of that way. So close that left arm. If you keep it closed in the back, much greater tendency for it to be closed in the middle. See how wide open that left arm is? If that left arm was closed a little bit more, this discus would come back a little bit more. Great job in the mirror turn. You can see you're doing a good job keeping that discus back. Left foot's the trigger. So that's a really good power position, but imagine if the left arm was closed a little bit more. So if the left arm was closed a little bit more, tendency again will be that you're going to wrap that, not wrap it, but keep that left arm closed. The head will probably be, instead of looking out here, the head will probably be looking back here somewhere, and just keep you back a little bit more. Then as you go through your power position, things are looking great. Turning the feet. It looks like you ground your left heel right here, which is good. Right side turns. Got a bend on that left knee. It's just a slight bend. A stiff left leg with a slight bend. Big bend in the right here. Everything's looking good. Pointing down the middle. And this is where you kind of start to do that jump and throw. Look how high your feet come off the ground as you throw. So I want your feet on the ground when you're here, but they're already coming off the ground. So we just got to work the circle a little bit more. It definitely looks like you're jumping and throwing. You can tell by the position of your feet. See how you kind of flex that foot, flex your shin right here? You can definitely tell that you're jumping and throwing. You're trying to produce a lot of power and you're jumping and throwing. But try to push the earth down. It's like that joke. Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. So push the cement pad down into the ground. Try to kind of push that cement pad into the dirt. Don't jump off of it. You look like a strong guy, but you don't look like a big guy. So what I mean by that is if you're, say you're like 180 pounds. Right now you're pushing 180 pounds off the ground, which is fine. but I'd rather you push, say you squat 350. I'd rather you squat 350, push 350 pounds of force down into the ground rather than jump 180 pounds off the ground. So a couple things. All right, I think the big things are going to be keep the left arm closed, get the right hip ahead a little bit earlier. Those two things are going to create a lot of separation in the back of the circle. If you do that, what you do in the back happens in the front. So if you create better separation in the back by doing those two things, keeping the left arm closed, getting the right hip ahead, and that right foot off the ground a little bit earlier, it's going to create better separation in the back. Keep your left arm closed. As you drive through the middle, you're going to have better separation in the middle, and keep your left arm closed instead of opening it like that. See that? Then when you get to the front, you're going to have even better separation with your left arm closed. And then when you get to the front, your timing is going to be a little bit better so that when you get here, you're still going to be on the ground throwing from double support, working in that circle a little bit better. So you can see how it's only like 2 frames. Right here you can see you're delivering power. You can see the wrinkle in your shoe. You're pushing down. 1, 2, you're jumping and throwing. So 2 more frames. Where are we going to make up those 2 frames of video? I like to make it up right here. So if you were 1, 2, and that left foot was on the ground, instead of being 1, 2, and the left foot's on the ground, staying a little bit closed, a little bit more closed, and a little bit more separation is going to lead to the lower body winning the race that little bit more. So you don't have a lot of stuff to work on here. You're doing a really, really good job with a lot of different positions in that circle. So let's take things slow. Let's just kind of try to brush up and polish a couple things, and it starts in the back. Right hip, right foot comes off the ground earlier. Keep your left elbow, your left arm inside of your left knee, and try to keep that left arm closed and the right arm back a little bit more throughout the entire throw. That's going to adjust your timing in the back, which is going to affect, in a positive manner, your timing throughout the entire throw. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. We get that lower body winning the race. We give that lower body a little bit of a head start in the back. That means we're going to cheat a little bit and give that lower body a head start. The lower body is going to be that much farther ahead of the upper body in the back, that much farther ahead of the upper body in the middle, that much farther ahead of the upper body in the power position, and then that much farther ahead of the upper body at your release. So your feet will still be on the ground when your arm is here, rather than your feet being on the ground when your arm is here. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's watch that in real time again and just see if you can follow. Little bit of difference, that little bit of timing is going to make a big change in that throw. Alright guys, that does it for me today. If you have any questions, as always, matt@primalatc.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff for more of these videos. And if you guys have any questions, shoot me over an email. Talk to you soon.